Lila walked through a busy neighborhood yard sale on a warm Saturday morning. Tables were stacked with old toys, boxes of books, board games with missing pieces, and colorful trinkets. As she explored, her eyes landed on a small rag doll sitting alone on a wooden table. The doll wore a faded red dress and had tangled red yarn hair, one black button eye and one brown button eye. Its crooked, stitched smile looked like it was trying to grin but didn't quite know how. Lila picked the doll up gently. The moment she touched it, a strange shiver ran up her arm, like the doll was quietly watching her. Before she could put it down, the yard sale seller leaned forward and whispered, "You can take her, if you're brave." Lila blinked in confusion, then shrugged and decided to take the doll home. As she walked home, the doll peeked out of her backpack with its mismatched eyes staring upward. Lila felt like the doll was marking every house, every tree, every mailbox along the way, as if memorizing the neighborhood. Once home, Lila placed the doll on her bedroom shelf beside her books and art supplies. The room was cozy and bright, decorated with purple curtains and glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. Lila stepped back to admire her new toy, when suddenly she heard a soft thump behind her. She turned around quickly. The doll was now on the floor. "You stay up there," said Lila with a nervous smile as she placed the doll back on the shelf. But later that night, while she lay in her bed, she heard tiny footsteps echo across the darkness. Click, click, click. Lila slowly sat up. The doll was now sitting at the foot of her bed, staring at her with its button eyes. "How did you get there?" whispered Lila, hugging her blanket. But the doll didn't move again. The next morning, bright sunlight filled Lila's room. As she stretched, she heard a tiny voice whisper, "I want to play." Lila froze. She slowly turned toward the shelf where the doll sat. "Did you just talk?" whispered Lila, her voice shaky. The doll's crooked, stitched smile seemed just a little wider than before. Lila decided to show the doll to her best friend Lucas. They met outside by the old oak tree in her yard. Lila held out the doll and said, "It keeps moving on its own." Lucas laughed and said, "It's just a doll, Lila." But before he could finish, the same tiny whisper drifted through the air. "Play with me." Lucas jumped back and said, "Okay." That was creepy. Later that afternoon, Lila returned to her bedroom and found a crumpled piece of paper on her pillow. She unfolded it slowly. Written in messy crayon were the words, "Don't leave me." Lila's heart thumped. Holding the doll up, she asked, "Did you write this?" That evening, something strange happened. The doll began glowing softly, as if tiny fireflies lived inside it. The room grew cold, and Lila hugged her arms as misty air swirled. "What are you?" whispered Lila. The doll floated up from her hands, rising gently into the air like it weighed nothing. "I'm lonely," said the doll in a soft voice. "I never wanted to scare you. I only wanted a friend. My last owner moved far away." Lila's fear faded into understanding. She looked at the floating doll and said softly, "You should have just asked." The doll slowly drifted back into her hands, no longer glowing, just looking small and sad. At that moment, Lucas peeked through the doorway and gasped as he saw the doll floating down into Lila's arms. Lila smiled and said, "It's okay. She's not trying to hurt anyone." From that day on, the doll lived peacefully on Lila's shelf. It only moved when Lila said it was okay, and sometimes it whispered little jokes that made her laugh. The creepy moments were gone, and the doll finally had the friend it wanted all along.